Right, as you can see, I've got half the cab roof down. I finally got round to fixing my air horn, and it's a pull chain. But the valve, I've always suspected, like the valve doesn't, you pull the valve open and it just doesn't let enough air through. But getting at it, it was actually up inside there. It was up on the other side of that hole. That's where the chain or the cord dangles through. The only way to it is this access panel, and you've got to put your hand right in. And I put it in myself. I replaced the valve a couple of years ago, and after I put it in, the horn was never as loud as what it used to be. So I've had it ages. I bought electric solenoid. These are usually pretty good. 12 volt, 24 volt. So I thought I'd strip it down and test it first. And my test, it's a bit of an Heath Robinson test. First I thought, just strip it down, open the valve and just feel the pressure of the air. Not that much. But then when I disconnect that, the pressure that's coming out is unbelievable. So that is obviously why the horn, well, only one horn works. By the time the pressure gets to the horn on that side, it's too weak. But on this side, it's, when you park, you pull it, you can hear the horn. But when you're driving down the road and you pull it, the pressure coming out the horn isn't enough to overcome the pressure that's been forced against the horn, so you can't even hear it. So that's why I'm fixing this. I'll disconnect this and you'll see the difference. So if I just do this now and then pause it, so that's with the valve. Right, so that's with the valve. And the gauge is only 55 psi, so it's not even 120 psi. If I loosen this now, you'll hear the difference straight away. So it's definitely that valve. So now I've got to figure out how I'm going to do that. Right, well, a couple of days later now. I'm back at my own base. I ain't been back for like about 4 months. So I've decided that I'm not going to use that solenoid because it was metric and nothing fucking fitted up correctly. So, and I don't like metric anyway. It's stupid European shit. So yeah, I'm going to go with the. I'm just going to go with a tap. And I mean, obviously I've had it all connected. It works. It's nice and loud. But in the meantime, I decided that, well, if I'm going to sort of mount the tap up there, but then it's going to sort of interfere with my fuel pressure gauge, which was mounted there. And I've got it all, I've got the whole truck in, well, the whole dashboard in bits again, but yeah, so I've got the fuel gauge off. And I'm going to mount it in this access panel. I've drilled it all out, and I'm just cutting out the trim, and I have got some spare. I've got some spare trim, and I could have easily just covered that, put the trim up, and then put the panel on front like that. But I decided that I'll still need to cut this anyway, so I've just cut it out like a, you know, a cross shaped cut, and I've offered it all up. It all sort of lines up, so now I'm just going to reassemble it, and hopefully it should look quite good. Right, so I've got it mounted in there. I couldn't put the bracket on the back to hold it in place, but you know, it doesn't need it because it's in there, it's wedged in so tight. It's not going to fall out. I really had to twist it to get it sitting lined up level. But now I've got the only downside now is sometimes you get air in the system, and you have to bleed it. And when the gauge was mounted on the column, when it was mounted there on the column, it was easy to get at, and with a 7/16 spanner to bleed it. But now, if I want to bleed it in the future, I'm going to have to drop the whole lot forward. The other, do you know what? I've just had an idea. I've got a length. It's because this hose is all one piece all the way down. I run it all through the column. It goes all the way down to one of these ports on the, oh, there it is there. That goes all the way down to the fuel pump. But I've just had a thought. I have got an extra length of this, about a 10-inch or a 12-inch length. If I splice that length in there and there, then if I want to bleed it, I might be able to crack it open, say down there. Mind you, that might not work, because I think really you need to bleed it right at the very end. So I'd still have to crack it open there. Yeah, fuck it, I'll just leave it as it is. And I mean, if I need to bleed it, I'll have to just take the screws out, drop it all forward, and just crack it open from behind. But that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start the engine, crack it open. What you do, you crack it open and rev it at the same time, and then you take your foot off. Now, just before you take your foot off, you nip it up, like you nip the thread up before the revs come down, and that way you're forcing the air out, but you're cracking it closed, or you're closing it up before the revs come down, which will suck air in. What a mess. So, torque it up first. Let me just do it finger torque, to be honest. No, I better get the spanner on here. Right, so that's tight. Fuck, this is going to be awkward. This is going to be so awkward. So that's got all the air out. I can see all the diesel dripping off it. Fucking can't now. But yeah, so now just fit in place. I mean, that is going to look a lovely tidy job with that just sitting up there. Well, I've always known about this access panel, and I've always realised it's going to be an awkward afternoon job. And the thing that's motivated me to do is getting this airhorn valve all put in place. It should just now be a case of putting it all back together. Where's that spanner gone? Alright, that's it. I've just got to screw it into place and hopefully it all fits. Oh no, oh no, what I forgot to do. I forgot to put the bleeding bulb on it. Fucking hell. Oh dear. Hang on, pause it. Well, before I thread it through, just make sure it's still working. Yeah. I put a little green plastic lens, like a little rubber, like a little rubber cap on a green coloured one. Right, just pause it a minute. Yeah, I've only had to take the one screw out fully. That one's still half in, but I can still just about get behind it. So, oh, hang on. Now I'm going to have to take it out. Hang on, I might be able to get my hand. I can get my hand up at fairway, so hopefully I'll shove it up there. Shove it through up here. Should be able to feed it forward. Hey presto! Right, bulb in light. Yeah, it is working. I'll probably have to put the camera right up close to it. You should see it come on. Yeah. So now we've got the light working, so now I can put it back in again, second time. Screw. sorted. Look at that, perfect. Fucking factory spec, kid. Let's give it a rev. Right, it's about 4 weeks since I started this video. Reason is I wanted to fit a new button in. At the moment there's a number 25 in there, just in that bit there. And like I probably said before, I've got it set up to 400 at the moment. If I put this in, it's going to make it a 450. This one is a number 22. The one in there is 25. But what I did do is I record while I was driving along. I held the camera up to that gauge I fitted, and it makes 160 psi with the 25 button in at 450 at 400. And then once I fitted this one in, we're going to film it again and see what the pressure increase is once it's running at 450. So that's today's little job. Well, actually I've also done an oil change and get it a bit of a wash, but this is the main thing I want to do. Right, so I've loosened all the bolts now, just got to drain the fuel out the fuel bowl. Hopefully I don't drop the plastic pot on the fucking floor. Oh, sorry, I swore again. I vowed to myself that I was going to try and stop swearing on my videos, and I've just gone and swore again. Sorry. There we go. There's one little washer that I haven't dropped for the change. Hang on a minute. Right, I think I can take the fuel catching receptacle out the way. No more fuel's going to come out of it now. I'll tell you what, might as well just go straight down. Ah, dear. That's it. As you can see, I still haven't got a camera. Oh, hang on, hold on, hang on, come on. Just lift it out. I was going to try and drop it out the bottom, but come out the top. Hey, look at that. One-handed. God. Right. Nice close up of my chin there. I like to keep them in order of the way they come out, because a few years ago I took this off, and when I put it back on I over tightened one of them and ended up stripping the thread, and I had to put a new thread in it. So ever since then they've been a bit, some of the threads have been a bit tight, so I always kept the screws in order as to which they come out. Right, so here we go. Off it comes. Gasket's still intact. Oh, it won't be if I'm not careful, Rich. Put it there. Right, now the fun part. Try not to let anything get mixed up, so keep all that in one bunch. Just set it down next to the screws. Extract the spring. And extract the plunger housing, whatever it's called. And inside there's the button. That spring, underneath that spring is a tiny washer. When I was up in Halifax, I stripped all this out. I was going to put a new button in, but once I found out what button was in there, I realised I didn't have any other buttons, so I had to put it all back together the same. But I know when I started it would run, but it wouldn't tick over, it wouldn't idle on its own. And I thought, oh shit, what have I done wrong? And then I noticed a little washer sitting on the battery cover. And I thought, do you know what, I've not seen that washer before. I wonder if that's got to go inside. So I had to open it all up again. And sure enough, I put the washer in. And guess what, it ran properly. So it's a good job I noticed the washer on top of the battery box cover. Anyway, so yeah, there it is, 25. Number 25. Swapping out for a number, can't even see it, fuck's sake, oh come on, it's so small I can't even see the letters now. No, it's got to be there. Ah, it's upside down. I can't even see if it's the right way up. Yeah, 22. So, put it all back together. Spring, and this is the tricky part. This is the very tricky part. The very tricky dicky part. Tricky Ricky, tricky dicky. Oh, I picked the wrong bloody circlip pliers up. Sometimes I can put it straight in. Sometimes it takes me bloody ages. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Just give it a little spin, make sure it's seated properly. Yep. That's it. So now, instead of a 400 horsepower engine, by that simple step, we've now got a 450 horsepower engine. Put the screws back in the order they came out in. Right, all the screws are back in. I have got one Allen key because I've got all spare parts for these, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to put an Allen key in. That's why there's one Allen key, and the rest are all standard bloody 6-point. Come on. Diesel fuel and everything now, it's all gone slippy. Nip. 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 And nip. Right, just spend 5 minutes putting all the pods back on. Oh, I didn't want that to fucking happen. They're a rot bastard to get on, these are. See. Right, we're all back together. So all we've got to do now is climb up into the cab and crank on it, and hopefully it fires up. And then once it's pulled all the fuel back through, I'm going to do a fuel filter change. And I'm going to do a fuel filter change. I'm going to prime the filter with an additive called Seafoam. I did it before. I did a video ages ago where I primed the fuel filter with an additive, but I use an expensive one. I can't remember what it's called now, but I think the best one to use is one called Seafoam. But you can't do it from cold. You've got to do it with the engine warm, and you basically let the engine sort of cool off for half an hour with all this additive all in the whole fuel system, and then you take it for a good drive and blow out the cobwebs. Just trying to keep it all clean, wipe all that bit of diesel fuel off and that. Right. Right, so we're all ready to crank it over. Oh look, I've still got some masking tape there. Right, neutral. Look at that, that's fucking bad, that is, ain't it? Look at that. It's been like that the entire time I've had it. One day I'll get that fixed. Right, so anyway, neutral. I've got my special tool for holding the door open when the cab is tilted. Here we go. Oh, what a tune for the moment.
Something's gotten hold of my heart,
Freaking my soul and my senses apart. Come on, baby! Woohoo! I think she's there. I think we've got it. Woohoo! Yeah! How dare you! So it's running alright with the new fuel button in, and now we're going to do the fuel filter change with the seafoam. Dead easy. Fuck's sake, full of shit. Full of it. So much water in there. Look at it. One. Should be about 1 3/4. Yep, that's it. It's clockwise on, anti-clockwise off, because it's upside down. Spin it on and tight, and 1, 2 and a little bit. Give it a bit of a wipe. And now we start it up again. Right, so I've let it run for about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. You just let the fuel, or let the engine pull all the fuel through, and then switch it off and just let it sit for a while. And it's called the hot soak. And you can actually do that. You can do that with any diesel. All you got to do is, like I said, just prime the fuel. If you can take the filter off and prime it, you can do it. But if it's one of them inline filters, it might be difficult. But you know, you can do it with pretty much any diesel, and it really does perk it all up. So yeah, now I'm just gonna put the cab down, put all the tools away, and go and have some dinner. Oh yeah, and I'm also gonna wash all this oil off my face. Right, ta-ra.